Good afternoon, good afternoon. It's Luke. I'm back, baby. Today I'm talking about spiritual deception, mostly having to do with the UFO phenomenon. I consider myself accredited enough to speak about this. I'm not super researched in it, I'm not super versed, but I've read a few books about it. I was just reading this, so I'm going to reference this few times. Orthodoxy in the Future, or in the Religion of the Future by Father Seraphim Rose. This was written like 50 years ago, maybe 60. So I've looked into this stuff quite a bit, right? Let's look into the basis of this idea. So the Bible explains that there's three heavens, correct? Earth and space are the first and second heavens, right? And this is Satan's domain. This is not the place of God. Yeah, you can connect with God here, sure, but it's not heaven, you know? Most people say that heaven, like the place that we go to when we die, when we're with Christ, that is heaven. No, the Bible says that that's the heaven of heavens, right? But earth and space are just heaven. So, to my understanding, these places are Satan's domain, especially space, because earth is kind of the domain of man and Satan. Like, a lot of stuff here is affected by Satan, yeah, but there's plenty of man here. You can be one with Christ still while you're on earth, right? Let me pull up this verse. Space is the actual domain of Satan, right? Like, there's no space for man in space naturally. There's no reason for him to be there. There is, think about it. The fact that you have to put on a suit, bring yourself oxygen, and you can't be outside in space for more than what's the statistic, like a minute before you die. It's telling enough that God didn't intend us to be there. That's not naturally a place that we're supposed to be in. So let's do some cosmology, some biblical cosmology, okay? Earth, circle. Surrounding it, space, right? Big area, really big, bunch of planets, nonsense, whatever. Stars. Then firmament, circle, unbreakable. Going around. Above that, the lapis lazuli. And heaven, right? The domain of God, where he and his angels, his millions of angels, are worshiping him all the time and watching over everyone. The Bible literally refers to angels as the watchers, right? Watching you all the time. All that stuff, right? Obviously, angels can come down here, which we see in the Bible. But what do they have to do? They have to traverse space first. How do we know this? Daniel 10. Daniel 10, verse 12. So Daniel is praying for 21 days, fasting, right? And he's like, God, come on, man. What's going on? He doesn't lose faith, of course. And then he said unto me, Fear not, Daniel. For from the first day that thou did not see thine heart to understand, and to chasten thyself before thy God, thy words were heard. So the angel is saying, I heard you, Daniel. I was coming, bruh. And I come for thy words. Verse 13. But the prince of the kingdom of Persia withstood me 21 days. But lo, Michael, the archangel, one of the chief princes, archangel, came to help me, and I remained there with the kings of Persia. So, what does this mean? Right? Demons, or these malevolent spirits, ruling over certain regions, right, which the Bible talks about in a few different places, right, are stopping things from happening, right? This angel comes to help Daniel, and the demon is stalling him, they're battling, whatever. And Michael comes, he's like, I got you, bruh. kills him, whatever. I don't know if he kills him, but somehow the archangel makes way for this angel to come down to earth. What does this tell us? Demons are within space, right? They're below the firmament in this empty place, without oxygen or room for humans, really. What else does this tell us? That angels have to physically come down here, and it kind of shows the ruling of these groups, their areas, right? So, what does this have to do with much? Well, let's get into UFOs, shall we? So, as of what year was it? 2018, 2019, the US government recognized aliens are real, guys. Aliens are real. After Project Blue Book in the 60s, where they were researching it for a while and they were like, I don't know if this is real, I don't know if this is real. They finally came out and said it, right? What is the significance of this? Well, a few things. First, the government doesn't release things that there's no reason for people to know, right? You look into MK Ultra, 150 documents were destroyed, files, experiments, never found out to the public in the slightest. And like, there's a few of them that you could find out about, right? Like Project Monarch, you could go onto like certain web browsers where things aren't as monitored and find stuff about Project Monarch, some of these other things. But for the most part, that stuff's just gone. And same with certain other things, like the salt pit. The government denied the existence of the salt pit for a while until claims were widespread enough and there was enough evidence that they could be like, yeah, guys, we did torture a bunch of people for no reason for multiple years. There we go. So, Noam Chomsky's video, you can find this on YouTube, Manufacturing Consent. He talks about the only reason that ideas are pushed out is to convince people. Everything that you read online, everything that you can find has an agenda, right? And oftentimes it's not good. Okay? So, the phenomenon of UFOs was widespread enough to the point where they couldn't keep being like, no, this doesn't happen, because it's been so tremendously like exposed to people. What's the significance of this? Well, everything having to do with UFOs and space travel is satanic, right? You look into it, who invented the rocket engine? Jack Parsons. I've mentioned him in other videos, I believe. Jack Parsons, what's up with him? Well, he's a cocaine and heroin addict, and he used a bunch of sex magic and high tiers of black magic in order to get this information, right? You look into the moon. I didn't know about this until I read this book recently, half a year ago. The Freemasonic flag is on the moon. You look into Freemasons, it's a fraternal organization, it's secular. You look into the Dogma and Morals by Albert Pike. 500 pages, this is a religion. Look into the ranks, most worshipful master. What do you mean? Most worshipful master, what's secular about that? You look into their encyclopedia, the unutterable name. What's the unutterable name? Yahweh. You can't even utter the name of God within their meetings. This is problematic to them. Anyways, and then other stuff with space travel. I mean, the Nazis were kind of big pioneers into it, right? What are the Nazis? Pagans using the power of demons. Oh, okay, well that's weird. Everything that has to do with space travel is pretty satanic. It's true. And then, once you look into UFOs, UFOs highly parallel with demons, right? So in the past, though, demons would only appear to two kinds of people. Those who God allowed to see them, or sorcerers, mediums, these people that strive so far outside of the grace of God that they can do this stuff. And Orthodox saints of Christianity have written about how They saw these big beams of light, these humanoid creatures, these kind of incomprehensible, weird things. And it's like, what? It's like the same. And so why would demons be appearing more regularly to people? Why are they not as hidden as they used to be? Well, I think it's clear that it's signs of the end times, really, is what it comes down to. And I don't think that that's anything to be scared of. As long as you're with Christ. I mean, the thing that scares me about it is like, man, those people I love probably won't be that good, some of them, you know? But I guess it's just more of a motivator to bring people to Christ. UFOs have often been very deceptive to people, right? They'll come in at speeds super fast, or they'll just appear without a trace of motion to them. You know, it's just like, whoa. Always coming in at nighttime, and they often bring negative effects to people. Like, for example, there's been a lot of cases of schizophrenia cited, people being traumatized, having weird dreams, hearing knocks on their doors before or after the visits, and just being like depressed or suicidal after. There's a lot of cases of that, psychosis, stuff like that. And what does the Bible say mental illness comes from? Demons. And also, angels are beings of hyperintelligence, right? They've been alive for thousands of years. It's the same thing with demons. You think that something that's been alive for thousands of years doesn't really live in the physical realm, you're going to outsmart it? You think that it would be hard for them to deceive you? I mean, it's like literally their job is to deceive people. You know what I'm saying? Not to mention that there's physical ailments that people have gotten. Leukemia, radiation poisoning, some other ones. I think some forms of cancer, all from UFOs. It's a little weird, right? I think that also, not to mention, the connotation of aliens and UFOs and stuff typically is kind of a savior-esque light, right? This hyper-intelligent species is going to come and repair humanity because they know how to do that stuff. Such cap, such blatant lies. And man is interested in this stuff. Since the Enlightenment era, people are a lot more open to whatever forms of spirituality will come to them. It was bad enough then, but then hippies smoke crack. They're like, crack. Let's just be gay and love each other. Like, what does it matter, bro? Pull out of Vietnam. You know? Like, that's where these initial mindsets come from. Literally hippies smoking crack saying, why don't we all just love each other? And then people are a lot more open to stuff. Now we have white girls sitting there with tarot cards in their room and like they got the pentagram flag and stuff. What does it matter? What does it matter? Eternal damnation. That's what it matters. Right? Would you really think it would be outside of demons' jurisdiction or Satan's to be having big flying objects coming in, kidnapping people, showing them ideas, torturing them, someone's trying to kill them? And a lot of it has to do with possession too. It's very interesting. A lot of the time these aliens try and like take people over. What would the interest be? Not to mention, not a single scholar, not a single scientist on this issue can say why they do this stuff. Why would you need to come to Earth to do a bunch of tests, to repair your ships, if you're hyper intelligent, hyper scientifically advanced life, you know? What more tests would you need to do? And you think that they'd be able to keep it under wraps if that was true? They'd be like, okay, let's go to somewhere really remote and kidnap some random Eskimo, right? But nah, they want to come to America where everyone has guns and everything's monitored and like go in populated areas and stuff like that.
Powering off.
Not to mention, most of them talk about like, um, talk about spreading these ideas, these advanced ideas. Is it beyond demons to kidnap people? Well, there's a saint from Russia in the early 1900s that talks about how one of his kind of servant boys, disciple guys, got kidnapped by a demon. And the demon took him to this weird lodge in the middle of nowhere and had him doing all sorts of weird stuff. Is this stuff that hard to believe to you? I mean, if you truly are Christian, I think it's very hard to deny the ties. Along with the fact that everything having to do with the idea of aliens discredits Christ. The idea of there being a hyper intelligent species that is going to come down to earth and help us. It's all preparing people for the coming of the Antichrist. Because where is Satan? Do you think he was located somewhere on earth? Probably not, bruh. Probably somewhere in the sky, right? Stuff makes me mad, dude. Luke 21:11. There shall be terrors and great signs from heaven in the end times. Let me find the quote about mental illness and stuff. Oh, not to mention, scientists studying this issue, secular scientists, say they must be from a different dimensional plane. It can't just be that they're from a different world, because of the fact that they can be accounted appearing and disappearing at so many times. You know? And a secular scientist saying that is like, bro, you don't know anything about religion and you came to this conclusion? Also, the kidnapping that I was talking about was described in the life of Saint Nilus of Sora in Russia, if you want to look into it. It is clear the manifestations of today's flying saucers are quite within the quote-unquote technology of demons. Indeed, nothing else can explain them as well. And stuff like this, the documentations of demons, I just like to cite stuff so you guys aren't like, what are you talking about? Even though no one watches these. The lives of 4th century Saint Anthony the Great and 3rd century Saint Cyprian, the former sorcerer, talk about that stuff with demons having like big, great light shows and descending from the sky and stuff like that. I don't think it's out of the grasp of them. I don't think it would be. My roommate just came in for a minute. And why would aliens be bringing mental illness to people? Like why would people be suicidal after they see that? You know? Not to mention that not many Christians record encountering demons or aliens. It's not common at all. And that our government is secular and that they kind of try and drive you towards stuff like that. Is that far out to say? I mean, think about it. Freemasonry is heavily tied to the government, right? It's heavily satanic. So why wouldn't the government try and drive us there? And then you look into the occult ties of the planets, right? Like, what is it? Which planet is the raging storm? Is it Jupiter? Which is heavily tied to the pagan god Jupiter. It's literally the storm god. Like, come on. How do you not understand this? And then you look into Saturn, and it's like, yo, huh? What do you mean, bruh? And Saturn rules all these religions, too. You know? And what do pagans do? They worship stars. Like, come on. Is it that hard to believe? Man was never intended to go to space. And the places that man isn't intended for, there's a reason behind it. You know? very true, guys. It's very true. It's like how the places that are hard to get to typically have a lot of demons and stuff like that. Like, for example, Mount Shasta, the valley that Jesus walked through to get to the mountain ridden by demons. I can't remember what it's called. The book is real. That's all I gotta say. Come to your own conclusions about stuff. But I'll say this. Religion has been around for thousands of years. Real science that we actually use, maybe 300 at most. Things don't withstand the test of time without having something behind them, some validity, some reality to it, right? So if you're gonna buy your stupid government saying this is true, blah blah blah, but you're not gonna buy the Bible telling you this is this is this, it's not good. Also, if you're an atheist, I'd recommend that you look into Freemasonic texts about atheists. They call you the stupid people, and a bunch of other horrible names. Because it's low-key true, but it's like, atheism is what rules our world, and then they call you guys stupid, the people. Atheism is the common thing that you see now in world governments and stuff. And then you look at the people that run these world governments, a lot of them are Freemasons. And just look into a lot of Freemasonic rites, look into the names of stuff. The Scottish Rite is the one that actually rules the game. The other one, York Rite, is like some fake nonsense, which claim to be Christian. You're not Christian, bruh, shut up. Yeah, that concludes today. Look into any of my sources I cited. See if I was lying. Tell me if you find anything else. You won't. The only way to salvation is Christ. That's true. It's very true. Nothing has fixed my life up like God. And you know what drove me to God? I looked into the stuff behind Epstein. What's with these people? Why are all these famous people pedophiles? Like, what? Huh? You know? I look into it, and I'm like, huh, that's weird. They do rituals? You know? Because, like, think about it. The most famous people in the world, millions of dollars, sometimes billions. You could get any girl you want. You get any 18-year-old chick. You go to any foreign country and have sex with a prostitute that's way under 18. Where it's legal. So then why are they doing it like this, you know? I look into it, wait a minute, Aleister Crowley talks about sex magic? What does he say about it? Having sex with children brings more demons? What? Huh? What do you mean? Why does he care about demons? Oh, and he's a friend of the royal family, guys. What's up with this? Oh. Okay, this makes sense. Rituals? Sex rituals? What? But nah, guys, go listen to Ice Spice. For real, guys. It's great music, guys. She didn't wear an upside-down cross at the Super Bowl and do the Baphomet hand sign. For sure, guys. Oh. It's kind of a side note. I think I'm going to talk about this in a different video. But I just want to say it just so that you guys are, like, conscientious of this stuff. 2 Timothy 2:16, this is the King James Version. But shun profane and vain babblings, for they will increase unto more godliness. It's true, guys. Don't listen to bad music. That's all I gotta say. Jesus is King. Like and subscribe. For real.